Shooting Blanks Wrestling Report.
Eric Young was one of the talents released in April. His 90-day compete is now up. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, they're with Impact. Theirs was up too. Eric Young did an interview, and he was talking about, which one was this? This was with Busted Open. And he talked about the WWE system and said that it's broken. He talked about how there's no creativity in WWE, and I'll just read you what he said. He said, the truth is a bunch of guys that have left there have talked about this, and we don't need to go on and on about it, but the system is broken. It's hard to get a word in. Even when you're doing nothing, it feels like you're fixing people's mistakes all day. There was no creativity. They want everyone to do things the same and be the same and bump the same and sell the same. And there are millions of rules. Those things change daily. It's really hard to understand what's going on and why it's going on. The system is flawed, and I would say that to anyone there. I would say it to Vince McMahon himself. He said he'd have to wait hours to speak to Vince, and he said that he's a 40-year-old man and not a child waiting for an adult's attention for a few minutes. And he said that even though Vince was always respectful when they spoke, they had 2 long conversations, but ultimately it fell on deaf ears. So, that seems to be the consensus of a lot of talent.
No, it's 100% accurate, and that was his experience there, and that's pretty much everyone's experience. And the only people that can get to Vince, when Cena was there, Cena was able to get to Vince a little easier than maybe some of the other guys. And there were many times, and you just go, and I've talked to Vince, I would go in there often, especially when I wasn't happy with things. And sometimes you have a line of writers out there and producers, so you're not going to cut them. Because then now you're going to start you're fucking yourself with these guys. If you're like, oh, I'm more important than you guys, I got it, because they're trying to get stuff for the show. It's so unorganized. Everyone's just trying to get in his ear to try to get their shit fixed for the day, to salvage the day. And it's especially when you have other things going on and you're busy. And I talked about this exact thing when I was working Kevin Owens, and things were I'd already turned down the contract at the time, and I saw the writing on the wall that how the booking was going to start going, and I had to go and wait outside his office for it was something like 3 hours. It was ridiculous. But like Jerry Jones, it was in Dallas, came there, and Jerry cut a bunch of us. What are we going to do? Jerry Jones in the arena can't go see Vince, and they were in there forever. And it was the writers, a producer will come up, Dean Malenko, hey, is it okay? I really did talk to him. You're not going to tell Dean no, because you end up fucking yourself when Dean's in that production meeting if you bury yourself with Dean or Arn. You know what I mean? So you're like, yeah, go ahead, Dean. And you're waiting another 20, 30 minutes or whatever it is, or whoever it is. But I remember I had to get something changed that at the end of the day it was for me to get a power bomb on Kevin on the show leading up to our rematch. And so I had a little bit of steam going back into this rematch as the babyface after he'd got one up on me on the week prior. And that wasn't going to be written into the show. I had to go fight for that. But at the end of the day, it was going to the pay-per-view to lose again. And it was a match they made really short on time. So at the end of the day, it didn't matter. It was just a waste of my time. And that was just one little particular example that they're going to do what they're going to do regardless on things. And again, you're a 40-year-old man waiting out there to go talk about this fake setting. What they do is they take the fun out of things, though, for the creativity. And all wrestlers have this creative ability or some to some degree. And at that place, it's just simply you sign that contract. Whatever role we decide, you may be the man for a year, and then we're going to put you in the middle, and we're going to treat you less than when you're the man in all aspects of this business, from how do we talk to you, from how we are your travel. And they adjust everything there based on, if you go to the bottom of the card and, you're Heath Slater. Hey, we're not even going to put you in the video again this year. Heath Slater. Fuck it. Wait a second. What do you mean? He's doing his job. But that's what happens, and why people, though, you hear people how they get burned out after they work for WWE is they zap you of all love and emotion of wrestling once you're there long enough, and you got to get away from it to get that love back. But it really opens your eyes to the wrestling industry and just how little. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It's one of those. There's so much that goes in to it there, and it doesn't matter how good you think you are in the ring. Eric, I'm sure, is a good wrestler and things, but it's just where you fit in and whatever they're doing at the time. And he got taken out of that Sanity thing, which I thought that was the best thing they did and had potential to at least be on TV every week and be involved in storylines, winning and losing aside, because that as long as you're involved and making money and you're because things are going to fluctuate all the time on that. But I told you, going to the ring and having no entrance, I don't know what happened to him there. He's a smart guy, I'm sure. And I'm sure he spoke up at different times. And the people there are the stooges. You speak up to one person there, they'll turn that into a million times worse. Man, that Eric Young, he fucking runs his mouth on. And Eric could have just maybe brought up something like, why are we doing this? But that's the game there of the people that work there, that's as toxic of the environment as Vince, because it all stems down from him on that. So and that's not to say everyone is like that all the time, but it's a pretty toxic environment, and it's even when you're being used good there, it's not enjoyable. It's stressful, and you can look at, Moxley talks about it in the creative standpoint, and you're just waking up in the hotel rooms, you're like, what the fuck are they going to do today to ruin me? That's serious. And I was on top of the world, literally stressed the fuck out, because it was just you just see how unorganized it is, and you see the people that they're out for you, and these things, you're just like, fucking hell, why can't we all just make as much fucking money as possible? But they are, because they figured it out on a way to take it away where it's not necessarily based around megastars, and it just takes the fun out of it. And I feel for Eric, and he'll hopefully get that love back the longer he's away from that. But it's one of the problems that happens to guys when they leave there is they mentally are fried from that whole. I say it's Shawshank, and I mean it. It is, and you will never understand it unless you got put in that environment and had to live in it for a substantial period of time. And again, there's a lot of good with the wrestling fans and the moments, but it tears your heart out, especially when you love wrestling. And not everyone wants to be, and it ties into the pay, it ties into the creative. Not everyone's going to be a main eventer. It's the cold hard truth. But when you're not even you're not getting an opportunity like Eric. So say Eric, he got taken out of Sanity, and they're gonna we don't have anything for you as a single star. Well, let's give the guys some good music. Everybody there should have badass music, or music that's really fitting one way or another. The system of creating stars is just so broken. And he's talking about, even if you don't have a game plan for Eric Young, well, I'm sure he has fucking 10 or 15 ideas. And I go, but let's put him out there. Let's give him good music. Let's give him an entrance. If we don't have anything, let's give him some wins on Superstars for fucking 6 months, and let's see if he gets over. They don't even give you that. They take away no entrance. They tell the audience that you're a piece of shit, and there's nothing that no reason why they should care for you, and that's for no reason. And so I don't know what happened to him particularly to fall into that, but it happens to a lot of guys.
Yeah. But he's now in Impact, and seems to be doing pretty well there. Impact obviously doesn't get near the viewership of a AEW or NXT or anything like that, but still, it seems like he's happy.
Thank you guys very much for watching this clip, and to watch full episodes of the Shooting Blanks Wrestling Report and conversation with the big guy Ryback, subscribe to patreon.com/Ryback for exclusive videos of both shows. And always remember, feed me more.